Welcome very much. Good morning. And Marilyn, thank you for that lovely introduction. And thank you for this opportunity and honor to address so many people who are committed to providing mental health support to students. It is a great passion of mine and something I've been involved with for almost 40 years. When I began my work at Sacramento City Unified School District in 2003, it was my hope and goal to develop comprehensive mental health support services in a large urban school district. At the time, there were 53,000 students. I saw this as an opportunity to create a system of change and support for all students. As you can imagine, there were many challenges. As someone who is known as a connector and a problem solver, I realized I needed to connect the dots. I needed to identify the different components that created the complex whole, in this case, the district, in order to understand the big picture. First and foremost, I considered the students and their needs, but I also needed to consider the impact on other students, the classroom, the family, and the community. And let's not forget some of the inner workings and infrastructure of the district, such as funding. Who would pay for these services? Who would sustain them over time? As you can see, there were many variables that needed to be considered. Whether you are a clinician, an educator, an administrator, or a teacher, we are all faced with different challenges and opportunities along the way. As I reflect on my career of over 35 years, there are a number of lessons that I learned. What I want to share with you in the next 10 minutes are 3 lessons that helped guide and shape me. I hope that these will be useful to you, not only in your careers, but also in how you approach your learning at the conference today. There we go. Lesson number 1, relationships, relationships, relationships. As we all know, our work is about relationships, whether we are working directly with kids, parents, teachers, administrators, or partners. As we know, relationships are the interaction between 2 or more people. For me, it's how I did my work. It's about the connections I made, the goals we shared, and the programs and systems we developed. Building relationships and developing partnerships can take you in many directions, some of which are unexpected. Some of the more obvious ones can lead to collaboration, which in itself is very empowering. There is an opportunity to find thought partners who can become part of your learning community. And sometimes you will encounter an unlikely partner who all of a sudden you find yourself working with towards a common goal. Always be willing to participate in meetings where you can share your passion and ideas. You never know where it can take you. Although relationships are pretty basic and tantamount to our work, what I found is someone who's always looking to develop better systems to support kids is that relationships can lead to partnerships that in the end help create more comprehensive and thoughtful systems with a shared goal and commitment. Let me give you an example about relationships. While at the district, one of the greatest opportunities I had was from my participation in a collaborative with multiple community partners in the South Sacramento area. As a result of this collaborative, we became one of 14 statewide communities in a competitive process to receive funding from the California Endowment Building Healthy Communities initiative that was focused on transforming the South Sacramento community, a community that was impacted by health inequities. The success of this collaborative was all about the strength of the partnerships and the synergy that was created. As a result of this initiative, which is in place today, the department that I then ran received funding to develop programs on chronic absence, suicide assessment and crisis response teams, school climate, LGBT support, trauma-informed work, a school-based health center, and a district centralized support center. This is an example of the importance of staying engaged and developing strong partnerships to create innovative programs. What we know about our work is it isn't easy, and it can be very complex. To be successful, you must understand all the intervening variables, whether they be members of a family, staff at a school, personnel at the district, or in a community. They all have a part in contributing to the whole of a person, a program, or a system. Lesson number 2. As a social worker, I learned about systems theory. In its most simple definition, systems are a set of connected things or parts that form a complex whole. Systems theory and thinking is a holistic approach to analysis and problem solving. For me, it was a theoretical approach and practice model that allowed me to best understand and analyze different pieces of information that led me to create better systems. We are all part of many systems: a family system, an education system, an organizational system, religious systems, community systems, just to name a few. Understanding systems are important because they inform you. They tell you who the players are and the roles they play. They tell you about the structures, the processes, the commonalities, and the intersection of all the parts. What I love about systems thinking is that it's a way to analyze information that can be useful in navigating the landscape and ultimately will lead to thoughtful planning. In my early days as a clinician working with clients, I loved doing eco maps and genograms. For those of you who don't know, these are tools that clinicians, especially social workers, use for gathering information about a client in a non-confrontational manner. The beauty of systems theory is that these same techniques can also be applied to a family, a school, a district, a community, or any organization. It's important to pay attention to systems, analyze them, learn from them, and understand them, for they will guide you in your thinking. Building on partnerships and understanding systems is all about the integration and a holistic approach. This leads me to one of my favorite quotes, and I just learned Aristotle is the one who actually said this way back when. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. I started in lesson 1 with relationships, and now I want to talk about a very high form of relationships in lesson number 3. Lesson number 3, finding your mentors. We all need mentors, and if we're lucky, we will not only find mentors in our lives, but will also be a mentor to others. A mentor is an experienced and trusted advisor. They are the experts and can be a go-to for others. They are there to coach, guide, lead, advise, motivate, train, and support. Mentoring is about connecting. I remember sitting in a meeting one day, many, many years ago, looking around the room and realizing that in that room there were 3 people who I considered my mentors. At the time, they didn't know that they were my mentors. I called them my silent mentors. But for me, I always found myself observing and learning from them. That day I asked myself, why them? What was it? What qualities did they have that I wanted, and how could I get them? Each of them possessed something unique that I respected. One had an uncanny ability to bring people together in the most authentic way, with warmth, humor, and hope for the future. The other had the ability to rally the troops and lead, but not just with her personality and her skills, but with her knowledge. She was always prepared to back up her plan, and she knew how to frame things to get everyone onto the same page. The last person is someone I always admired. She was my boss for many years, and initially I was very intimidated by her. That is, until I learned to trust her and work with her. She never backed down when she believed in something. She was a brilliant researcher, and I learned the importance of data. Plus, she was always seeking out innovative, evidence-based practices. Earlier, I talked about collaboratives. Mentoring is a collaborative relationship that is both dynamic and reciprocal, where both people benefit. Each one of us needs something different to learn and grow. And if we pay attention, we will realize that our mentors are all around us. We just need to be open to them, even when they don't know we are seeking them out. It's important to be a learner. And by the way, after many years of having these amazing people as my silent mentors, I shared with them how important they were to me in my career and in my life. The lessons I learned from my mentors and my mentees is give and you get. Next steps, call to action. Now I want to talk about your call to action. Connecting the dots is about 3 lifelong lessons. These are lessons that brought me not only success, but also an incredible sense of satisfaction and a great sense of purpose. In lesson 1, we talked about the importance of relationships. Lesson 2 was understanding systems. And the 3rd lesson was about mentorships, both finding a mentor and being a mentor. So what can you do? Today is a day of learning, networking, and connecting. As you go out and begin your day, I hope you're able to benefit from some of my lessons and apply some of what you learned here this morning. To summarize a few highlights, continue to find your passion. With every challenge, there is an opportunity. Remember the big picture, but also identify and understand the different components that make up that big picture. Stay engaged, work together, and build partnerships. Look for unlikely partners. Continue to learn to understand. Analyze the systems, and remember that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Seek out mentors. They will forever be your teachers. And last but not least, connect the dots. We are at a very important and critical time in our field. The number of people attending this conference, which is overwhelming actually, tells me that our field has grown. I applaud your commitment to the work and encourage you to develop and provide support to all students so that they can be successful in school and at work and in life. I hope you all have a great day of learning, networking, and connecting. Thank you.